Hello everyone! Happy Thanksgiving. How are we all doing? Today's topic, voted for on Patreon, is Forrest Gump. I love Forrest Gump. I think it's a really charming and heartfelt movie, very sincere and fun, and I've seen it a million times.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
That said, Forrest Gump is also a fundamentally conservative and anti-intellectual movie that presents mainstream traditional American culture in terms of white, straight Christian maleness and apoliticalness as the only legitimate path to happiness. Yay! Go ahead and leave your angry comments below. Let's break that down. In this particular reading, and it is only one of many, it ultimately works in two parts: Forrest and Jenny, as representatives of mainstream culture and counterculture, respectively. On a very meta level, Forrest himself is sort of a stand-in for the American public, a character who is swept along through all the major cultural milestones of America from the 50s to the 80s, presented as a neutral and impartial participant. Forrest is from good old Greenbow, Alabama, from a family that's been there in the same house for like 1,000 years or something. As American can be. While he's not bright, he influences Elvis, gets to go to college and be a football star so good he gets to meet the president. He joins the army and becomes a war hero and gets to meet the president again, is a ping pong star and gets to travel to China and is so good he gets to meet the president again. He becomes an entrepreneur, makes $1 million because his money got invested in the stock market, becomes a cultural sensation by running a whole lot, accidentally inspires pithy bumper stickers and the smiley face, and ends up marrying the girl of his dreams. And if that all sounds a little silly listed together, just know the book is even sillier. In the book, which we aren't really discussing as it's super different, he also becomes an astronaut, a chess champion, a Hollywood stuntman, and a professional wrestler. So yeah, most people consider the movie to be better. And through all of this, Forrest is presented as simple, unintellectual, and apolitical. And for that, he is shown as an inherently good person. For example, Forrest is literally too dumb to understand racism. Forrest isn't kind to the black students who are integrating into his college because he believes in integration and civil rights. He's just shown as being too dumb to know any better, which I don't even really know what to say about that. If y'all want to hash that out in the comments, have fun. This persistent depiction of the all-American Forrest as being unintellectual and apolitical is most apparent in the Vietnam section of the movie. Forrest joins the army, just because. He has no opinion on the war, he doesn't seem to have any awareness of what the war is about. In fact, we never see anyone really discuss the politics of the war, and the only Vietnamese people in the war we see are in one shot where they are in the background. The war is just something Forrest does. He doesn't particularly dislike it or like it, he just does it. In fact, when Forrest has the opportunity to comment on the war when he bumbles into an anti-war rally by mistake, his mic is cut before he can address the crowd. He doesn't get to have an opinion on the issue. The movie won't let him and actually draws attention to that fact. When Forrest takes up running from coast to coast for 3 years, people assume he must have a reason to. For world peace, for women's rights, for the environment, for some reason. He even gets a following, handing out accidental inspiration to random strangers. But Forrest isn't running for a cause. He's just running because he wants to run for a while and to put his personal past behind him. There's no politics there. Each time Forrest addresses the fact that a major political figure was attacked or assassinated, it's always for no real reason. Forrest drifts through the movie without a plan, without a cause, without a thought, without political opinion, never expressing any real dissatisfaction with his situation, and he is rewarded again and again for this. The only thing he wants is Jenny. The only thing he's ever not satisfied with is Jenny, and eventually he gets Jenny. By completely disengaging from intellectualism and political thought, Forrest is rewarded by the narrative. Don't think too hard, don't want too much, you'll get everything you could dream of. Forrest isn't doing these things on purpose. He's not purposely abstaining from intellectualism and foregoing political thought. He's just too dumb to do those things, and it works out great for him. Compare that to Jenny. Jenny, in this reading, is our stand-in for American counterculture, political awareness, and intellectualism. While she comes from the same place as Forrest, she refuses to follow the normal, approved cultural milestones. Jenny does have an opinion on things. She is politically aware. She's smart and dissatisfied with the way things are. She wants things to change, both in her personal life and politically, and she's punished for it again and again and again. She gets into college, not on a sports scholarship like Forrest, but on her own merits, at a time when only 7% of American women went to college, though all we ever see of her college experience is her trashy boyfriend, who Forrest beats up. She embraces her sexuality in the early 60s and gets kicked out of college for that, ending up working at a trashy stripper bar where she has to be rescued by Forrest. The undertones of her story, however, are most apparent, again, in the Vietnam section of the movie. Jenny has become a hippie, traveling the country and ending up with the anti-war left, the Black Panther Party, and a trashy, abusive boyfriend that Forrest has to beat up. Again. Refusing to stay with Forrest, in the 80s, Jenny is wrapped up in drug culture and considers killing herself, and then gets AIDS. The resolution to her story is that she realizes that she was wrong to run away from Forrest and from Greenbow all along, and she has to go home and marries Forrest, fulfilling mainstream American cultural expectations of women, while Forrest takes care of her and their son as she dies of AIDS. I know, that's a cynical reading of this movie, but it's the one we're playing with today. So, Jenny, who is politically aware, aligned with the political left, and discontent with the role she was dealt in life, is abused, punished, and eventually dies of AIDS, only getting some peace at the end of her life by giving up on her counterculture ways and marrying Forrest. Forrest, inherently unintellectual, politically ignorant, and a good, simple American to the core, ticks off each and every checklist of the American dream and is showered with fame, fortune, and eventually the girl he loves in the end. Be a good kid, play football, join the army, start a business, play the stock market, and never ever have a political opinion on anything, and you too can be happy and fulfilled, even if you aren't very smart. In fact, being smart is probably a bad thing. Counterculture and political opinions will literally get you killed in this movie. At least, that's one way to read the movie. And look, I'm not saying Forrest Gump needed to take a deeply political stance on things to be a good movie. The reason it was so popular and remains so is probably because it presents American historical touchstones without a lot of politics that would make people like or dislike the movie because of that. But given how Jenny's story plays out in comparison to Forrest, well, it lends itself to some implications. And I'm sure plenty of you will offer up alternative readings of this movie in the comments. There's also the question of how Lieutenant Dan plays into this reading, and I'd love y'all's thoughts on that down below as well. Thanks to everyone for watching this, especially my patrons over on Patreon, especially Garrett Robinson, Heba Assad, Adrian Alvarez, Sebastian Warren, and Alex Wilson. Y'all are awesome. Check out the Patreon to vote on our next video topic, and if you like listening to this queer millennial feminist rant for a few minutes, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, click the bell thing, and most of all, come back for the next video.